Hello guys, so what we're going to be talking about today is going to be about color. Alright, color is the most effective or element of a design. Alright, color can communicate so many different things. So color is the most active visual component in a design. Alright, so we're going to talk about color here. And we're specifically talking about is a lot of what we call color systems and the psychology around color. Alright, so we're going to talk about hue, which is the degree to which a stimulus can be described or similar to or different from stimuli that are described as yet red, green, blue, and yellow. All right, so if you see something that, well, that's red, or that's green, or it's blue, or that's yellow, those are what we call a hue. All right, we decipher those as it's that color, like it's that red, or that's green, or that's blue, or that's yellow. All right. That is referred to as what we call a hue. All right, the value of it is representation of the variation in the perception of the color or color space's brightness. All right, how bright is that particular color? How strong is that particular color? And then the saturation is the intensity of that hue. Again, going back to how strong it is or how dull it is, can represent that particular color. So if you look at this color wheel here, we see that there's a hue, the saturation, and the value. All right, so you see hue is kind of like that color wheel that kind of goes around. And then we got saturation. All right, that's how bright it is going to how deep it is. And then you got the value going as far as how dark it is to how intense it is. All right, there are analogous colors, which are colors sitting adjacent to each other on the color wheel. So right there we can kind of see that these are colors that are right next to each other. So they can be either really warm or they can be really cool type of colors if they're putting right next to each other. So you see there are complementary colors, which are colors sitting opposite each other on the color wheel, which is kind of like around this, around Christmas time, we have what are called like red and green. Those are complementary colors because they are so intense. When you put complementary colors next to each other, they tend to vibrate or combat with each other. They become very, very energetic. So you see here we got violet and you got orange here that are basically two colors right next to each other. They're very vibrant. They vibrate a lot. We're talking color temperature, which is the visible light in a spectrum that is measured in Kelvin. All right, when you're dealing with photography, you're going to deal with color temperature because in photography we have different color temperatures that deal with different lighting sources, whether it's like the sun or whether it's off-camera light or whether you're dealing with the light in the room, have different color temperatures. And those color temperatures actually make a huge difference in your photos when you take them. Okay, so we're going to deal with the psychological effects of color, which is the impact color makes in human behavior. All right, different colors actually have a psychological effect on humans. So, for instance, blues are very they're excitable. They're also a comforting type of feeling. All right, it's both cooling and a sedative, but cannot be used indiscriminately, as too much of it produces melancholy. There are certain words that represent each of these colors. In fact, this one represents like trust, conservation, security, technology, cleanliness, and order. So if you look at these particular ads, you're dealing with you're dealing with those blues, but those blues are very comforting. A lot of medical industry tends to use a lot of blues because that tends to have a comforting effect. Here we're dealing with green. Green is a cooling color as well. Acts as an opiate, which represents nature, healthy, good luck, jealousy, green with envy, and renewal. All right, it doesn't do well in a global market. There are problems associated with green packaging in China and France. Green has been successful in attracting investors in the Middle East. So green has this kind of like natural effect. All right, you see a lot of green being used in renewable energy and ads like that. But we also deal with nature with green. So you see here is a World Wildlife Fund, which actually has that, looks like a lung there, but you see part of it's being taken away. All right. Or you also deal with the Monopoly ad, which shows the green there as being a very rich, luxurious type of look to it. Yellow. Yellow is cheering and stimulating and draws attention. All right. Deals with optimism, hope, philosophy, dishonesty, cowardice. A coward can be described as yellow. Betrayal. Yellow is a sacred color to Hindus. All right. Yellow represents a different type of. It's very bright. It's very vibrant. All right. But yet, yellow can be combined with other colors to actually communicate something very different, like red not red, but black and yellow, when put together in stripes, kind of represent bees or danger or caution. All right, red is exciting and stimulates the brain. All right, but yet some colors will also communicate two very different things depending on what they're with. All right, red can communicate power, energy, warmth, passions, love, but yet also aggression and danger. All right, red changes meaning in the presence of other colors. With green, it becomes a symbol of Christmas. When combined with white, it means joy in many Eastern cultures. All right, so red, you'd see a lot of red when you're dealing around Halloween. All right, which tends to go on the scary end. All right, red representing blood or splatter or whatever. But in February, red is used quite often too for love. So it's very interesting how this color can mean two different things in our culture. All right, so you can see red there being used in those two ads. Orange, since it is a combination of red and yellow, orange is a stimulating reaction to it. It is a combination of physical and the emotional. It focuses our minds on issues of physical comfort, food, warmth, shelter, etc., and sensuality. All right. The physical comfort, food, basically all these particular words there. So McDonald's, for instance, even though the logo is red and yellow together, they actually form orange. And psychologically, it actually produces kind of like a comfort food type of feeling. Some studies have actually shown that orange actually produces hunger. So you kind of like see orange there. It kind of like represents that particular feeling that you might get. Purple is a sedative and soothing. Spirituality, mystery, royalty, transformation, cruelty, and arrogance. All right, purple appears very rarely in nature. It does appear in flowers a lot, but it's kind of a rare color. So purple has been something that's been communicated a lot with like royalty. You'd see like the purple cloaks there for king and queens. You would see purple used a lot whenever it comes to luxury type items. All right. So for here, it's like you're seeing purple being used as a very, very luxurious type of feeling. But yet on the ad on the right side, it does also produce mystery. Brown. Brown is restful and warming, but should be combined with orange, yellow, or gold because it can be depressing if used alone. Earth. Reliability, comfort, endurance. Food packaging in the U.S. is often colored brown to great success. In Colombia, brown discourages sales. All right, so brown is used a lot when it has to deal with earthly tones. All right, coffee houses, for instance, there tend to use a lot of brown. All right, and it's no mistake. It's like coffee beans are brown there, so it's like basically they're keeping that going to produce that coffee or cafe type of feeling. Gray suggests a color, and light brown is depressing unless combined with a livelier color. Intellect, futurism, modesty, sadness, decay. Gray is the easiest color for the eye to see. All right, gray can produce a lot of elements. So here, there's no mistake in this particular ad why it went to gray or black and white as well, because what it's doing there is producing an emotional response. All right, if this was all in color, it would actually produce, it would be a very, very different feeling ad. All right, and the tagline in it is liking isn't helping. All right, so you're looking at it there, you got all these people with thumbs up and they're like, yep, they're liking it, but they're not doing anything to help that kid. All right, so, liking is just not helping there. But that gray also helps to communicate that message. Now black. Black is very much like red in some ways. Black suggests color like gray. It is depressing unless combined with a livelier color. It can produce power, sexuality, sophistication, but yet it can also communicate death, mystery, fear, unhappiness, and yet goes back to saying elegance. All right. Black signifies death and mourning in many Eastern cultures. In packaging, conveys elegance, wealth, and sophistication. All right. Black is a very like red. It's used to communicate two different things. All right. So you would go to maybe a fundraiser and it would be a black tie event or a little black dress event. All right, those basically refer to as an elegant or sophisticated type of charity event, more or less luxurious. But yet, you would also tend to kind of like go in black for a funeral, which represents death. Okay, so black is used in two different spectrums there to communicate two different things. All right, you look at this, it's like it does produce that luxurious effect, but yet it also provides a lot of pop for that color there. It's a high contrast. Black is used quite a bit to produce a very, very contrasty look. But yet black is very, very sophisticated, very, very luxurious. Again, it's kind of like a combination of it, but it's kind of funny. All right, white. White is cheering and reflects sunlight, particularly when used with red, yellow, or orange. It refers to purity, cleanliness, precision, innocence, sterility, and death. All right, it signifies virginity and marriage in the U.S., but death in India and other Eastern cultures. So it does, like black, refer to two different things depending on what culture we're in. All right, a lot of these colors that I'm talking about here represent a lot of the meaning they have in our culture. But in other parts of the world, colors actually mean something very, very different. So here it's like, again, very clean, very innocent, and there too. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That's our little lecture about color. Hope you guys have a really great day.